In response to increased incidents of anti-Semitism, the council passed a resolution to condemn and combat anti-Semitism. Nancy, the council say they took this action because 85% of the 130 hate crimes reported in Montgomery County last year were anti-Semitic in nature. Now, no one condones that type of behavior, but how serious is this problem? And is there something wrong with Montgomery County? I mean, there were only 8 hate crimes in all of Prince George's County and 130 here in Montgomery County.
Well, I wouldn't blow this up into a major issue. As I read that between the lines, it's the advocacy of the Jewish Community Council that Ron Halber probably made a call to the council and said, look, our people are feeling anxious. Can you do something? And he probably wrote the resolution. So I don't think it was intended to be anything other than a statement of support in a political year for the Jewish community. I wouldn't, I think though, I wouldn't assume it's not intended to apply to everything, or is not intended to suggest that everything else isn't really important. And I think that, the problem is when you do that, that's what you're suggesting. You're only focusing on one community. Are you making it into something that is more than what people see is on the horizon? I really think it was a isolated situation based on a community request.
Well, I think you're absolutely correct, Nancy. There is a lot of violence that are being committed out there. And Mark, in addition, there have been Christian churches here in Montgomery County and pregnancy centers across the country that have been attacked.
Well, and I think as a society, and both the left and the right, we've got to get rid of the sort of sometimes double standard that exists about politically oriented or group oriented or bias oriented violence. And I think in particular this past summer of the response to the incidents with Brett Kavanaugh, who lives in Montgomery County and is being protected by Montgomery County law enforcement, there was a bit of a shrug of the shoulder from folks who frankly don't like Brett Kavanaugh and don't like the Supreme Court about the protection being afforded him. And I think that in light of the horrific attack on the wife of the speaker, we really ought to rethink that double standard and recognize that public officials and their families across the board, whether we agree with them or we don't agree with them, are worthy of appropriate protection.
That's absolutely correct.
Can't argue with that.